Now, our last talk is on increasing the number of customer touch points in retail through the novel human interface. Today, retailers have done little to enhance the customer experience with their stores. The talk will focus on the novel human interface and how we can improve the customer experiences through the proper application of this technology. Mr. Vernon Snack is the Director of Business Development, Open America, Inc. He has been an industry marketing specialist for the last 20 years, specializing primarily in retail, but also tracking the customer packaged goods companies. In this role, he has developed solutions for retail. For CPG, he developed a mobile route accounting solution that led the industry. Vernon currently is developing a retail practice at Open America with solutions in general retail, grocery, and convenience stores. He's very excited about working with Open personnel, technology, and partners. So now let's welcome Vernon Snack.
Well, thank you very much for allowing me to be here today. I feel rather intimidated. I'm not a PhD. I'm not a professor. When Stanley was learning how to use the Force, I was still learning how to read. In fact, I was such a poor student at university that after I graduated, my parents wrote me a letter, and it went something like this. Dear Vernon, we're writing this letter very slowly because we know that you don't read very well. So, if we exchange cards, and you send me an email, please write it slowly. Today what I'd like to talk to you about is the state of retail. I think that what we've talked about most of the day, and I think most of you are developers and engineers in the semiconductor industry. What I'd like to show you is the practical application of what we've done with your technology. We are partners of Intel, and in fact, we ship about 25% of the CPUs to the digital signage marketplace in North America, of the Intel CPUs, I should say. We're also partners of Microsoft, and we'll show you some examples of things that we're doing with both of those companies as we talk today. One of the things that we all know is it's a tough economy right now. It's been very tough for retailers, in fact, and even in the near term, they're only predicting slow growth. So what this means for most retailers is that they're not going to grow through building more stores. They have to grow through increasing same-store sales in the stores that they have already. And so what becomes more and more important to retailers is how they interface with their customers, how they enhance the customer experience in their stores, and how they increase the number of loyal customers that come to their stores. When we talk about retail at Open, we talk about all different segments in retail, including food and drug, including mass merchandise, and including hospitality, which for us includes casual dining, quick service restaurants, and hotels, motels, and casinos. And we'll talk to you a little bit about what's going on in each of those industries with technology to enhance the customer experience today. So I just wanted to ask you a question. If you've been shopping lately, one of the things that you probably know that the first time that the retailer or an associate of the retailer's typically interfaces with you is when you're within about 3 meters of the front door, when you're at the POS checkout stand checking out. So the first time they really know you're in your store, or they even talk to you, is when you're checking out. And they may even find out what your name is if you have a loyalty card, and you swipe that loyalty card so that you get points or credit while you're checking out. And so the question is this the right way for retailers to behave? Is this the right kind of experience for any of us as consumers to have when we go to the retail store? And I think the answer is no, it's not. And I also think, though, that the way that retailers can improve that experience for consumers is through the proper application of technology. Whether it's putting out more POS stations to handle transactions no matter where they occur in the store, whether it's interfacing with the customer through mobile applications. Think of this for a minute. How many of you own loyalty cards for any store chain that you go to, whether it's Best Buy or a grocery store chain like Safeway, any of those stores? If you do, one of the problems with that kind of a solution is that until you swipe that card at POS, the system doesn't know you're in the store. So there's no way for the retailer to really react to your presence when you come into the store. And what happens today in every market with CRM and loyalty systems is that when I swipe that card, in many stores what will happen is a printer will print out a bunch of coupons on the back of your receipt. Have you seen that experience? How many of you take those coupons back and use them? If you're an average shopper, only 2% of you ever use those coupons. The other thing that the retailer does is that since you're a loyalty customer, they'll mail coupons to your house. And by the way, all these coupons that they send you or they print out for you actually are coupons of things that they think you will buy based on your shopping habits, because they've kept a very good record of your shopping habits as you've scanned your loyalty card. They correlate that with your market basket. But again, the problem is none of us use those coupons because we're really not organized shoppers in general, okay? The way I shop is I'm driving home from work and I get a phone call from my wife. Vernon, I'm making this tonight. Will you go to the store and buy these ingredients? I don't have any coupons with me, so I can't take advantage of any specials that might be available for me. Now imagine, if you will, that you could register your phone with a loyalty system so that you could wave your phone in front of a kiosk as you were typing out all the information about Vernon Slack, all the information about your address. And now when you wave your phone in front of the kiosk, it detects, all of the interfaces that are in your phone, whether it's Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. You can put your phone number in for your cell phone so that, maybe it can send you SMS messages. And now the next time that you walk into the store, the system knows you're there because it recognizes your phone. This is proximity marketing, okay? And so because it recognizes that you're there, when you walk into the men's department, there might be a digital sign that starts to promote products in the men's department that you would be interested in buying because it knows your shopping habits. It might be able to send to your phone a coupon for dollars off or cents off, depending on what the product was, to entice you to buy that product, and it would only send for products that it knows you might be interested in because of your shopping habits. Now you didn't have to remember to bring the coupons with you. You didn't have to remember to be prepared when you went to the store, but the store can promote to you. And over time, if they can get you to buy, in a grocery store environment, $2 more every shopping experience you go to, basically they make a lot more money. If they could get all their loyalty customers to do that every time they shopped, it would be a great experience for them. But on the other hand, it could be a good experience for you too, because you would see these discounts that you're going to get. So there are a lot of different types of touch points. Not everybody uses a smartphone. Most of us probably do today, but believe it or not, my mom and dad probably never will. And so there are segments of the industry, or the segments of the consumers that won't use any of that technology. So there's not just one way to solve the problem. It could be through the application of self-service kiosks in the store, could be through digital signage in the store, as we said, mobile insider assisted selling, and it could be through the consumer-owned devices like the cell phones, that experience that I just told you about. So what are the goals of these technology touch points? When we talk to retailers, these are the top 6 goals that they've given us. Number one, they want to enhance the customer experience. They want to make your shopping experience better for you, and they use digital signage to do that. An example in the specialty marketplace is there's a division of Abercrombie and Fitch, which is a clothing store called Hollister. Does anybody know Hollister? Hollister doesn't target me, but they target young adults and young teenagers. And the whole idea with Hollister, if you know that store, is that it's about the surfing experience. They don't sell sporting goods, by the way, they sell clothing, right? But when you go to a Hollister store, they want you to think that you're at the beach. So usually in a Hollister store, there's a video wall, and there's a live feed from Huntington Beach, and it's showing you what's going on in Huntington Beach, no matter what time of the day it is. So when you're in downtown New York City, you walk into the store, the idea is they want you to feel like that you're at the beach, because it's all about the brand, and it's all about their store. And so they're trying to enhance the experience through branding. And branding is the second thing that is up there. Most retailers want you to remember their brand, and so using things like digital signage to do that, or interactive signage for that matter, is a big issue for them. The other thing they want to do is save costs, and they want to be more efficient. Over time, all of us have been more comfortable in self-service environments. The first self-service environment in North America, at least, was ATMs. And through the application of ATMs, most retail banking establishments convinced us never to go to the inside of a bank branch. Most of us all do our banking at ATMs now. We don't go talk to people, and we don't go inside the branch. The second area where we started using self-service a lot was ticketing at the airport. And most of us now don't deal with a ticket agent, we deal with a machine. Well, the fact of the matter is that most of us like that experience, because I don't know about you, but when I walk into a store, the last thing I want is for a salesperson to come over and say, "Can I help you?" Because I think they're trying to sell me something. And I want to do it at my own pace. And so in a self-service environment, I'm allowed to do that, but I'm still allowed to gather information about a purchase I might make. And I'll show you an example of this in a couple of slides. The other thing stores want to do is they want to differentiate themselves from their competition. And through the proper application of technology, they can do that. In fact, those top two experiences I explained to you are one way that they can differentiate themselves. Finally, or not finally, but the last customer-facing solution that retailers are interested in is basically reducing perceived wait times. Does anybody remember when barcode scanning first started appearing in grocery stores? Because that was the first arena where it appeared. Does anybody remember? It was in the early 80s, okay? And ever since barcode scanning has gotten into stores, checkout's been faster than ever. How many of you think that checkout at a grocery store is fast? Most of us don't. In fact, most of us perceive that when we wait in line for, when we actually wait in line for 4 minutes, we think we've been in line for 10 minutes or more, okay? In fact, every year, the National Retail Federation and the Food Marketing Institute, which represents grocery stores, do surveys of their consumers to find out what they like most about their shopping experience and what they hate the worst. And for over 30 years now, the thing that we've told these surveys is that we hate the worst is waiting in line at checkout. And so, you know, the use of digital signage to reduce that perceived wait time. You know, using the signage not necessarily to promote to somebody, but to entertain them while they're waiting, reduces the perceived wait time. And so that's something that retailers are starting to look at to enhance the experience. And finally, internal training and communications is a big thing for retailers, to train their own staff. So in terms of self-service kiosks, one of the things to understand is that interactivity is the key. You know, we've been trained not to look at television anymore. We've been trained not to look at digital signage very much, okay? But if we can go up and interact with something, then basically it's conversational. And once it becomes a two-way conversation, then it becomes interesting for the consumer. But for the retailer, it's also very interesting because the kiosk experience, or their interactive screen experience, also allows the retailer to collect information about which items on that kiosk are of most interest to the consumers. So when I go to the screen, if I have a choice of 4 things that I want to get information about, if 97% of the people are looking at one thing, you know that's the right thing, right? You know that that's what you're going to be selling the most of. So that's really important for retailers and for consumers. It also allows you to do product reviews. It also allows you to service yourself and find out about things. I'm going to show you an example now using Connect with an interactive screen to basically show how a consumer can find out about products by themselves without having to ask an associate. In fact, before I start that video, I wanted to tell you that that's the number 2 thing we hate about our shopping experience, is when we can't find something or we don't know something about the technology we're buying or the product that we're buying, and we ask an associate who's probably a high school student, part-time. This isn't a career, it's just a job. Can you help me with this? Can you tell me about this? And they don't know and they don't really care, okay? But with self-service kiosks, you know, we can become more informed. The other thing that we can do is we can make use of space wisely. There's a very high-tech firm called Bang & Olufsen. They're headquartered in Denmark, and they sell hi-fi and stereo equipment. And this is an example of how they use Connect with a self-service kiosk. So this is outside their store. This consumer has the ability to serve himself. He can find out about whatever it is they're selling in that kind of environment. And he has several choices, as you can see. And so using Connect technology can do that. Now what's interesting about this is because they have limited space in these stores, this is in Denmark, they place this in the store window, so it's behind glass, so a touchscreen wouldn't work anyway, right? But with Connect, you're able to come up and still interface with the kiosk, and you're not taking up space in the store. And hopefully it'll help you go inside the store and make that purchase. So one of the things you have to be concerned about with digital signage has nothing really to do with technology. It has everything to do with the content that you put on the screens. You know, the retailer does have to make the content meaningful. Content is king, and a lot of people think that just buying the technology is what's important, but it's not. And the other thing is you have to make it fun. And so 3D is a technology that's starting to be used more and more in the digital signage environment. It helps the store create an image, it helps the store entertain and inform at the same time, and it captivates the audience. And when you captivate the audience, you know, hopefully they'll buy more. And certainly there are savings for you when you're doing this because you're promoting the product internally. The next example I have here is Toys R Us. If you're familiar with Lego, they have quite a few product lines. One of their product lines is called Bionicles. And I have 2 boys. They're both older than Lego age now, but when they were younger, they were just entranced by the Bionicle product line. And we used to have to go buy them special kits to make Star Wars figures and do all of those kinds of things. What Toys R Us and Lego did together is that they developed something called the Hollow Wall. This is with a partner of ours. And what they did is they put the actual product inside of a display case, and then using 3D graphics, they make that product come to life. You can imagine what a 10-year-old boy would think about as he's watching this next demonstration.
Check this out. See a Hero Factory display.
So the toys in there are actual toys,
graphic.
but the laser beams and the little shield there, of course, is just digital animation.
That is something else. It's like watching a little show in this little display. display box in the store. That is awesome.
So right now, just to give you some things that we're doing is with that same technology, we're going into a major electronics store here in the US, and we're showing them things like blenders. So putting a blender behind the glass, and it's on a Lazy Susan so that I have 5 or 6 products that I can move around. These are actual products, blenders, iPads, a model of a laptop, those kinds of things. But you've got a blender out there and they want to see how it works, and they push the button for that, and what happens is you see fruit, digital fruit drop into the blender. The blender, it sounds like the blender's turned on, and the fruit is all mixed up into a shake, and then it's poured into a glass next to it. You can do all this without having to worry about somebody demonstrating that to the customer, without having to worry about the fruit or the product that you need for that. We're displaying how you can use an iPad. We're displaying all those kinds of things. We call it virtual reality, where we actually have the real product, but we're using digital imaging to show how the product can work. Okay, so it's an exciting experience for consumers when they see these kinds of things. The content also needs to be made simple. It has to work across all platforms, and so while Raj, who works for Microsoft, said that he wasn't going to talk about software, let me talk about software for just a minute, okay? HTML5 is a new standard that's come out that allows us to use devices or to create content for digital signage such that we can show it on a 65-inch flat panel screen, we can show it on an interactive screen, we can show it on a tablet, and we can send the same content to your phone. We only have to create the content once, but because it's HTML5, it recognizes what platform it's going to and resizes itself and reformats itself for the particular platform that it's on. One of the things that we also need to say is that ever since the invention of scanning, nothing's really changed in POS. And there might be people out there that would disagree with me, but I will tell you that even though the processors have gotten faster, even though the interface has gotten easier to use, the fact of the matter is the checkout experience isn't any faster than it was since we first started scanning. It's just like word processing on a Core i5 or a Core i7 processor hasn't made me a faster typer either, okay? But the point of the matter is that, and it's not a criticism of the product at all, or of the CPUs, it's basically just that because we hate standing in line, retailers are looking at different ways of interfacing with us. How many of you bought an Apple computer at an Apple store? How many of you checked out at the Apple store without having to stand in line? But somebody with a mobile device actually was able to take your credit card, swipe your card, email your receipt to your house, and send you on your way. Well, with this kind of technology, what we're able to do is arm associates with tablets or mobile devices that allow them to do a sales assist type transaction where they can actually pull up information, tell you about the product that you're interested in, give comparisons to you of competitive products, and then when you're ready to close the deal, they can actually swipe the card and get you out the door. For a retailer, what this does is cuts down on buyer's remorse. You handle the transaction as soon as the person says they're interested and want to buy. For the consumer, it's an enhanced experience because we hate standing in line, okay? So it improves, and these are some of the things, even with these sales assist tools, the thing that's really interesting about them is that it allows the associate to ask you a series of questions that will hone in on what the proper product is to promote to you, okay? So that they don't lead you down the wrong path, okay? The other thing with these kinds of tools is the managers can use them as dashboards so that they can understand what's going on in the store. Do we have the right number of associates scheduled? How are the sales doing at each POS checkout station? Who's stealing cash from me at the POS checkout station? Loss prevention is a big deal for retailers. And then, of course, doing things like emails and standard opportunities. But the idea here is for everybody in the retail store not to be in the back office doing reports, but everybody being up on the front, servicing the consumer. Okay. Now, I told you the example right up front about how you can use consumer-owned devices to enhance the shopping experience. There are several ways that you can do that. One, of course, is promoting to the consumer via things like Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or NFC as it's becoming more and more available on cell phones. But these can be individualized promotions now, and they can be everything from barcodes to QR codes to gifts that actually show you a full menu of a restaurant, and I'll show you some examples of that in a minute. But also you can make something where it's a pull transaction as opposed to push. So instead of pushing information to me, if I'm interested in something, then I can have a QR code on the screen or on a static sign, and I can use my phone to scan that QR code or that Microsoft tag and get more information about that product on my own. Okay. Some examples of proximity marketing is that while I'm in the store, because I'm that loyalty customer, if it's a Taco Bell, for instance, they can send my phone a coupon. If I buy that product, they just hand the phone to the cashier and they'll scan the barcode on the phone and give me the discount. Let me tell you about this Ebisu example. It's one of our partners, and they did an installation up in Vancouver, Canada. And the restaurant's on the second floor of an office building on a very busy street. And unless you are a local, you probably don't know that restaurant's there, but there are a lot of tourists that walk past that restaurant every day, but they don't know it's up on the second floor. So by using proximity-based marketing and transmitting signals via Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and NFC to the street, they actually see 80,000 phones a month. And they transmit to these phones. And always when you do something like this, by the way, the consumer has to have an opportunity to buy in or say no. But the way to do that is that when they receive the transmission, it'll say, you've received something via Wi-Fi or via Bluetooth. And if you want that item, you say yes, and then it pops up. In the case of Ebisu, what it is it's an offer for free wings. It tells you where the restaurant is, and it also then shows you pictures of some other items that are on the menu. And it's just a GIF file. Because it's transmitted via these three technologies, there's no cost to the consumer to receive that message because it's not SMS, it's not coming as a text file. Okay, and you can send GIFs, you can send JPEGs, you can send videos for that matter. Other segments that are related, as I said, include quick service restaurant, include casual dining and hospitality. And some of the areas that we're looking at in these market areas include things like tabletop ordering devices, where you use a tablet-based system to interface to the POS system of the restaurant. And instead of having to wait for a wait person to come to your table to place your order, you can place your own order at the table. You can also pay at the table so that your credit card never walks out of your sight. And also, if you go to dinner in a casual dining arena with little children and they start to act up, you can give them the device and they can play a game that's got the restaurant's logo all over the game. And then the next time you say to the kids, where do you want to go eat? We want to go there because they have fun games. So it's a way to promote, it's a way to improve the service, and it's a way to speed up the service for the consumer in a casual dining arena. We can also mount these same kind of devices to the walls of a quick service restaurant like a McDonald's or a Taco Bell and use it as a loyalty sign-up system because it can be interactive because of the touch screen. In hotels, you can use it as an in-room concierge. You can use it as the signage outside conference rooms, and you can place them in strategic locations around the hotel to give the consumer an opportunity for wayfinding to help them find their way through the hotel. And you can also have it interact with the phones so that the same wayfinding messages can be placed on the phone with a map. You are here, conference room B is on the 3rd floor around the corner, and showing you how to get there. So, in conclusion, it's a new world for retailers. There's fierce competition out for them. The competition's coming from everywhere now. We're seeing chains come from across the Pacific. We're seeing chains come in from Europe, and so the competition is global. There are multiple channels or ways that the retailers can sell to us, and what they need to be aware of is that they have to enhance the customer experience. They need to create customer loyalty, and they need to increase same-store sales. And hopefully from this demonstration you've seen that proper application of technology can make this experience happen in a very cost-effective manner. If there are any questions, I'll entertain those. Otherwise, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.